Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the business edition. Before we dive on in, I want to remind you about Mint Mobile. If you are frustrated with your cellular service and you're looking for a change, Mint Mobile is a good prepaid plan. It saves you a lot of money because you buy a few months up in advance. So you can buy for like, in my case, I do 3 months at a time, only cost me $15 a month, which is amazingly cheap because the old plan, which had less data than I get now, was $60 a month, and that was about as cheap as I could go with Verizon. So this saved me a boatload of money. So definitely check that out, tlm.li/mm. And let's go ahead and dive on into the news, shall we? All right, so first, EU website says that website content can't be hidden behind cookie walls. Like, at least the EU is now starting to re-examine the portion of GDPR that made zero sense. Like, I love a lot of elements of GDPR. Their cookie stuff has just created a giant nightmarish annoyance of giant all-screen, adopt your cookies before you see anything. No, I don't want to. All right, I want you to no. I want no cookies at all outside the very bare minimum. Give me a single button for that and I'll consider clicking it. All right. But now they're starting to say, maybe we did a stupid job with all the cookies, with the cookie nonsense that we have created with our policy. And now they're starting to walk back some of the GDPR stuff, making sure that sites can actually have accessible content, even if you choose not to consent to have any or whatever amount of cookies. So I've always liked some elements of GDPR while completely saying other ones are really stupid. The cookie policy is the absolute stupidest thing because the end user has the absolute control over the cookies in their computer. Just educate your sheep of people to figure out how to delete their cookies and tell them cookies can be dangerous. Cookies can track you. It's wise to delete your cookies. It's wise to set your browser to not allow third-party cookies. It's wise to be aware of ad trackers and the things that cookies can do, and it's wise to regularly delete them and regularly block cookies. That would have been a far better thing than what they did, giving you all these annoying pop-ups that led to the nightmare of the internet that we've all been experiencing for the last year or so since this first came out, where all of this cookie blocking pop-ups have been all over the place until you come on in and fix that. Whoa, this is not the green screen we're looking for. There it is. All right. So with that, what do you think? Have you been on board with the cookie law? Do you like what they're trying to do with the cookiness? And now I want a cookie. Man, I don't know. Software company is suing the government to avoid repaying the $750,000 PPP loan. So the PPP loan, was it the personal paycheck or something paycheck protection plan, whatever the first P is. Oh, paycheck protection program. Whatever it was. Apparently my brain doesn't work anymore. How can I not remember paycheck and protection and plan or program? So this is a California software company received $750,000 from the government, but then new guidelines came out, which basically would mean that, hey, this is all a loan. And guys, almost all of the people that took out all of this supposed forgivable, almost every bit of it is going to have to be paid back. This is why a lot of people were jumping out and going, oh my God, this is so good. Everybody should apply for this now. I actually had clients tell me I should apply for this. I'm like, no. What are you, crazy? I've read Genesis, that part where all of the people were broke and so they end up selling themselves as slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. And it says there in Genesis, that's exactly how Pharaoh came to own all of the land and everybody were basically his slaves. No, I'm not participating. Sorry. But a lot of people were like, this is free money. This is excellent. Everybody should be applying for this. The end result is that banks actually made $12 billion in fees processing all of these loans, and most people cannot or will not or cannot meet the requirements, especially since the requirements shifted after everybody got it. It's like, here you go. It's a snap. It's a trap. Or we need that. The alien dude, right, from Star Wars. It's a trap. It's a trap. All right. And it is. So this software company is now suing the government to roll back the April 23rd changes, basically saying, hey, no, this money is forgivable because they took it out under the pretext that the money would be forgivable. So they're suing the government to try and make sure that they don't have to pay back any of their $750,000. Oh, man. I don't know. Check, please, a one out of the human race. Let me know what you think about that one. And look at, speaking of crazy pop-ups, there you go. All right, Facebook says its Blender chatbot is the most human-like chatbot ever created. I'm reading through this, and I thoroughly, completely disagree. We got to wait for this thing to restart. All right, so how are you today? I'm good. How are you? Do you have a favorite food? Mine is lobster. Congratulations on a new promotion. What kind of work do you do? I work in software. There's another one on there. I'm sure they'll be very proud of you. What type of engineering work do you have? I do not know of anybody who possibly sends any messages that even resembles a human in any way, shape, or form. It says a sentence, asks a question, and then answers the question they just asked themselves. Nobody talks like that. What type of nonsense is this? This is not human-like. This is so purely robotic-like, it's not even funny. It's like, hey, Facebook bot. Go jump off a cliff. I don't know. So for years, researchers have been attempting to build AI systems that can converse well and naturally with humans. So far, however, these efforts have only been successful in narrow and specialized pre-programmed tasks. They're saying this thing is good? No, it's not. This thing is horrible. It is a free and open source application, so those of us into FOSS programs can download Facebook's FOSS program and install it and see what you want to see what you can do with it. I can only imagine what's going to happen when this thing lands its way on Twitter. Oh Lord, someone's going to turn it into the Fourth Reich leader, I guess. Just don't call it Tay. That'd be good. But anyway, yeah. I don't exactly see this being human-like at this point in time. It's too predictable. It says he answers a question or whatever. Oh, what kind of work do you do? I'm in software. What's your favorite food? Mine is lobster. Does anybody ever chat like that? I've never seen that in all my days. All right, last story of the day, free internet for all. This revolves around Comcast. Now, for you guys that have Comcast and are paying Comcast enough money in 3 months that you could go to the store and buy your own router that you don't have to keep on paying a monthly subscription fee to Comcast for. You guys that are using Comcast's modems actually have 2 wireless networks inside of your internet. So if you look for it, one of those is your wireless network for your house, and then the other one is a Comcast public Wi-Fi from Comcast. So what their plan is to have as many of their customers as possible using their own modems that's not only pushing out your Wi-Fi, but it's also pushing out a public Wi-Fi that other people that buy a special Comcast service, anywhere they go where they see a Comcast Xfinity internet, they can log in with their account and have internet wherever they go. So if I'm going to my friend's house and they have, Time Warner or whatever, but they're a jerk and will not let me on their internet, I could say, oh, his neighbor's got Comcast and I can log in there with my Xfinity, and now I'm bridging basically off of my friend's neighbor's internet. All of these internet routers are set up unless you explicitly have requested that they turn it off. I think you might be able to turn it off yourself at this point. But this is kind of their idea. Studies have actually demonstrated that these routers push out 30 times more power, or is it 30% more power, I should say. So 0.3 times more, 30% more power consumed in these, and they're pushing out this ultra high power wireless signal, which is probably not as healthy for you as a standard single low power network that you'd have that's just for your own home network, because these are really designed to bridge out and spread out as far as possible. Whereas yours, you don't want it spreading out as far as possible. You don't want your neighbor to try and get into your internet. So what happened is Comcast, in light of all of this current shutdowns, Comcast has actually opened up several of the business internets to be freely available without such a Comcast account. So if a business happens to have Comcast, the business's Wi-Fi is now free and does not require the password. So it basically becomes open, free, public Wi-Fi. And that's never a bad idea. But what these senators, 3 U.S. senators, are urging Comcast to open all of the Wi-Fi spots to be public, free Wi-Fi. Why? So that all of the children in lower income houses that can't have internet are probably going to be in range of a Comcast router that does have internet. So then the idea is that Comcast, you can open this up and provide free public open air non-password access to the whole world through their systems. That is a security nightmare just waiting to happen. Now, Comcast is fighting back and saying, oh, no, we do not want that to happen because that will mess up our bandwidth issues. I don't want this to happen because that messes up security on the internet. It makes it infinitely worse than it already is. There's some bad stuff. But the fact is, so take home message here. Number one, if you have one of those Comcast routers, what is wrong with you? You're paying them $10 a month. A router, or I should say a modem that you can connect to Comcast that's compatible with Comcast is $60. Now, yes, you are going to need an extra router as well for another $60, but that actually means, let's see, 120, that's 1 year at $10 a month. In 1 year, you can own all of the equipment to use the internet with Comcast rather than paying Comcast every single month. I know it's like, we won't necessarily support that. Good. I don't want you to support it. I don't want you to do a lot of funky stuff behind the scenes. I don't want you to have access because, by the way, they can see every device that's on your network if you are using their router. But if you're going for a modem bridged onto your own separate router, they can't see everything that's on that. That's the level of control you're giving them. And so if you do happen to have one of those and you can't hook up your own, absolutely disable that public Wi-Fi. Not only is it pushing more stuff out, but it's also giving Comcast more of what they want. And that's a little on the scary side. I think Comcast has enough. So let me know your thoughts to this and the other stories in the comments down below.